Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about something different. I've had a few people ask me about Latteras dubbing and how Latteras dubbing works. So we're going to kind of show you a couple different techniques, but the main video is going to be focusing on using the dubbing for small bait fish patterns that you would see in freshwater. I like to use it in a lot of big patterns, all the way from pike to muskie to trout, even saltwater. But we're really going to focus on small bait fish patterns and using Latteras dubbing for that. We're going to go up to 4-inch bait fish that would normally swim in a creek to kind of incorporate to what it looks like, what a baitfish would look like, and how to use the dubbing properly to create a baitfish pattern. So let's go down to the vise and let's check it out and see how we work this dubbing. So since we have the hook in the vise already, our other most essential tool, as usual, if you're working with Latteras dubbing, getting a good brush. A good brush is a key. You got to be able to brush out that dubbing. You could use an old toothbrush, like a super stiff toothbrush, or you could use one of these. This is, I believe, from Hairline. Fantastic little brush. It's got 2 ends. I love it. So the thread we're using is usually is the 100 denier GSP from Veevus. This thread is just so universal, so thin, and you could practically use it for everything. So we're just going to start. We're going to go about a hook gap behind the hook eye, and we're just going to start our thread. Cut this off, and I'm going to use a little zapper gap just to kind of secure everything. Just a little drop. I like the smell of it. I'm just kidding. We're gonna bring our thread to about the hook point, or the barb. I prefer the barb. Right about there. See how it's lined up with the barb. I like this. This is a Kelly Gallup trick a little bit. I start my flies there. It just makes it easier. Usually I'm gonna nick the point there, so just be careful. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to create my tail. So I'm going to use some bucktail to support everything. Any bucktail is okay. We're going to go with a traditional, like a white looking baitfish. So I'm just going to look through my different tails and find some of the shorter fibers I could use. And you don't need a lot. This is maybe a quarter of a pencil width of bucktail, and it doesn't have to be straight, it doesn't have to be lined up. I am going to take some of the shorts out of there, and I'm going to make it about 2 lengths of the hook shank. So 1 and 2 is going to be about right there, so right about that long. Okay, I'm just going to cut off the axis here, and I'm going to bring my bucktail right onto here with 2 or 3 turns, sometimes 4, and I'm just going to make sure it goes all the way around. This is going to help support everything. So then pull it down so it splays out a little bit. This is going to hold everything for you. So there's our low bucktail. Hackle, you could use dry fly hackle for this. This is dry fly hackle neck from Ewing. I'm going to just select two hackles. I'm going to pick one from this side and one from this side. What's going to happen is it's going to merge them together. It's going to be nice and even when you're creating your tails. You want them about the same size, so you don't want to go too big and you don't want to go too small. Look at them. they turn in, and that's what we want to concave onto one another to create the tail. So there's going to be your tail right there. Okay, I'm going to just splay this back because I measured it up. So I measured it up to right there. If you want to go with grizzly, you could go with grizzly, but I like to go about the same length as the bucktail. Kind of keeps everything together. I'm just taking some of these pieces off, and then I'm going to trim the excess of that. What I like to do with these now, your feather is naturally round, right? So it's round like your thumb, like your finger. So if you put something round against something round, it's going to roll every way. So what I'll do, I'll use the back of my scissors and I'll flatten it out. And by me flattening it out, it just makes it lay right on that hook shank, just right. And you start out with a loose wrap, and then your third one you could crank down, and then there's your tail. Do the same thing with this one. I'm going to speed it up. Alright, so you got your tails in, lock them down. Boom. I'm going to be using some, just check your tails, make sure they're good. Loon flow, this will go and actually act like a Zap-A-Gap almost. I like using this stuff, it just penetrates. Hit it with the cure. While you're curing, have a sip of coffee. Alright, so now you have your tails done. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to take some Latteras pearl white dubbing, and I'm going to take a generous amount. Okay, I'm going to bring it all together, just like that. And what I'm doing here is I'm pinching it in the middle, taking the loose ends and bringing them in the middle. Pinching, taking the loose ends and bringing them in the middle. Okay, pinching, bringing it in the middle. Alright, so this is the pearl white. The pearl white, it's going to go on funky, and you're going to think this is weird, but I'm going to literally just put it on just like this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around the hook. So I want to create a ball around the whole entire hook, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually push this back, just like that. And this is going to start creating your baitfish pattern. And then you just bring this forward. So you're going to go under, like under the shank, and you just bring it forward and lock it in place. So this is your first stack right here. Okay, this has some glow to it. It's got some shimmer. I'm not gonna add more shimmer just yet, but I will add some shimmer. If you want to get some of the loose ends out of here, you can get some loose ends out of here. Okay, boom. Get some of that dubbing out of there. So there's your first part. Okay, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna start creating. If you look at the inside of a baitfish, they have like almost like a grayish lateral line. It's just their bellies, the veins running through them. So we're gonna add a little bit of gray in here. This is the Minnow gray, and I'm just gonna put a pinch in there. So I did 2 small pinches, but I'm gonna put that in there because that's just gonna create that look on the inside, like it's like it's a real minnow, like that darker spot. Okay, so I'm gonna go in right here. I'm gonna wrap it around all the way and just tie it right in the front. Lay this out, and now we're just gonna pull it back, just like that. Come in front. Right, so now you're building your little gray inner body. Now we're gonna go with more white. You're just creating a hollow on top of hollow of dubbing. We're gonna go with more white, but you could see I advanced about 3-4 turns forward. We're just gonna repeat this process. This is pretty quick once you get going. You don't want to have too much dubbing, but you want to have enough to create that bulk of a baitfish. Separate it. Sometimes you got to play with it a little bit. Go forward and then wrap it. That kind of like secures it there. Now you're gonna do one more gray. Took a nice healthy pinch, not too big, not too small. You're gonna have to kind of play with the proportions a little bit. All right, and then as far as how much you want to take, there you go. So there's your gray, and then just bring it forward. I always stroke it out because I want to make sure that my dubbing is lined up. But you see how the white and the gray's working together. So we're going to take another few turns forward. This is the hot pink. This is going to create your insides or gills or whatever you want to call it. Okay. But we're gonna split it, so we're gonna do half here, like this, and then the other half on the opposite side. So you have something looking like this, okay? Like 50-50. So now that you have 50-50 with the hot pink, Stealie Blue in there. This is going to create almost like a cheek effect to your fly. Just want a little pinch. And this is all Latteras dubbing, so this is going to get soaked. It's going to be really pretty. All right, now this one we're going to wrap it all the way around. You're going to create that Stealie Blue, and you see how you have that pink right in the middle? It looks pretty. Bring it forward, lock it in, just like that. All right, so now you're going to take more white. Like I said, this is creating your bulk. It's giving it more look. If you want to split this fly and do white on the bottom, gray on top, you could do that. And that's what we're going to end up doing with the final. But with this here, we're going to go a little thicker to where you can't see anything. And we're going to wrap once, twice, right there. and then pull it back just like that. Now you have that blue and the pink on the inside. It gives you that variation, which is nice. And then just bring it forward here, just like that. So now here you could continue building your gray, white, and you have that pink and that blue in the middle, or you could do 50-50, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little gray on top. This is gray on top, just like that, too. And then we're gonna do a little white on the bottom. If you want to do like a little yellow in there, mix it up, you could do that as well. I like to split this 50-50. Go. You want to have this split, and when you do the split, you want to fan it out. So once you have it here, you kind of bring it to the sides, so it kind of fans out that way. And then same thing with this, fan out that way. See, I've moved my thread to the middle, so I moved it from it being under to the middle. Fan this out underneath it, just like that. And then just bring your thread in the front, just like that. What we're gonna do, we're gonna hit it with a little zapper gap here. Just to secure the thread and everything. Pull your dubbing back. 1, 2. There you go. Brush this out. Now if you want to put some jungle cock on it, you know, put some eyes on it. You could put some eyes on it, you could keep it without eyes. Or you could do it with eyes. It's completely up to you. This is what it's going to look like when it's underwater. I have these little 5mm eyes. They're 3D, so we're just going to whip finish this. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Now, like I said, you don't have to put eyes on this, but if you want to, you can. Okay, I'm going to brush it through one more time. Okay. I don't have a name for this fly. It's not really like a name fly. It's just a Latteras dubbing blend that I use here and there. Alright, I'm going to take 2 sets of eyes, but I'm going to do the first. I am going to take some Loctite. Tiny little drop right there. And a tiny little drop right there. Now, I'm not going to press these eyes in. These are just going to just sit like that. Kind of just get them to be on there. And put this right there, and there's your little baitfish. That's what it looks like from the front. That's what it looks like from the side. When it gets wet, it'll be like that. Alright, so a little tiny little guy. They swim great. They got great color in there, and I just love this little minnow. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was kind of long, but give Latteras dubbing a try. Blend them, mix them, and you could create beauty.